broadcast the truth before there is no one left to listen. It seems we are both out of time. Farewell, Commander.
Greetings and welcome back to the channel. I'm Commander Ty, a relatively newcomer to the War Thunder CC scene. However, I have played this game for 10 years now, and I feel fairly experienced in the game and its workings. In light of recent events, many of my subscribers have asked for my views on the recent Economy Saga, so today's video I will explain my views and the situation and what I think the main problems are. I tend not to get too involved in controversial subjects, but I feel this is the biggest roadblock to the game and its enjoyment that's appeared since the 2014 forum riots. We all love this game for one reason or another, and if we want it to thrive, we should all have our say. Although the majority of my audience come from War Thunder, and I am supported as a novice partner in the CC program, I play so many other games these days that War Thunder is really just a blip on an expanding radar horizon. If it dies an inglorious death, I would move on with no sweat. I don't want that to happen, so let's do our best to save this game and help Gaijin understand how it really works. War Thunder is often referred to as pay to win or free to play, but a more accurate description would be free to start. This concept is an evolution of shareware, a distribution method made popular in the 1980s and the 1990s, wherein a user was encouraged to pay only if they felt the software was deserving of it. If the software was good or suited for purpose, it would be shared widely, and fans would send money back to thank the developer and cover costs. Free-to-play derived from this ideology, but with a specific goal in mind: to make money. It is not a business model in on itself, but it can be styled as one and is designed to complement a brand, increase awareness, and to help funnel income from other streams or business models. The intention of this method is to never let the free user reach the highest levels or full access of the software. A free user only exists to be converted into a paying user and to continue as word of mouth for the game. This is a very important factor. However, the company must continue to keep the free user happy in order for positive word of mouth to continue and thus to continue growth. Retention is not as important as new signups. This is why Tyrael said it's affecting new signups, because growth is the most important factor for this type of business. As these lead to more potential paying customers, this word of mouth is integral for the long-term health and growth of the brand. On the other hand, paying customers will walk away entirely if they feel there is no value for their spend, and thus both camps must be kept happy. We have seen the repercussions of neglecting word of mouth gone wrong in recent days, with Steam reviews being nuked from orbit. However, this is just one facet of the company's business model, and as seen with the delisting of War Thunder on Steam, there are protections against this kind of backlash. War Thunder is a customer of Steam in a customer-to-customer business relationship, and as such they don't lose so much from having one income stream closed down. Steam's interest is to protect its biggest customer, which in this case is Gaijin, and to keep itself impartial where it can. War Thunder has a multitude of monetizations and different business models built into it. Customer to customer for consoles and third-party game platforms, a market economy in the form of royalties or fees from the sale of coupons or decals, and their own storefront in which they publish and market their own titles. Not to mention the in-game currency system in which they take your money now and promise you items later in the form of golden eagles. And there are various ways you can spend it, with some of them being completely wasteful comparative to others. After all of these years, the spaghettification of their systems, both in-game and in their business models, seems to now be drawing to an epic conclusion. After years of tampering and attempts to lengthen the grind wall, they have forgotten that their game is actually a fragile ecosystem, and thus it must be fed the correct nutrients and tended with care. Essentially, Gaijin has been playing Jenga with their game, only they keep adding to the top with no thought for the foundations whatsoever. Rather than fostering the health of their business, in recent years Gaijin seems to have sought to decrease the playability for free users at higher and higher levels, whilst simultaneously putting pressure on these players to cough up and convert to paying users, by adding clearly superior premium vehicles, lowering earnings, and increasing the distance it takes to reach the really interesting or fun vehicles depending on your views or opinions. Typically, when you gain a new customer in the business world, you take a look at them and you think to yourself, how long can I keep this customer? How can I make them happy with my service? And how can I get them to come back? And thus, how much are they worth to me? After trading for a while, you realize that some customers are easier to serve than others, but you still want to keep them. Most companies will ensure this return business by offering exceptional service, reliability, relatability, and or a great product. Gaijin seems to have approached this like, you play my game, and I want it to take you as long as possible and be inconceivably hard to own everything, even with the tools we provide you for a nominated cash sum. The free-to-play genre was vilified and exploited by mobile games which are predatory by nature. They are designed to be a massive time sink, keep you engaged just long enough for a little bit of a reward, and to funnel cash from your wallet straight into the developers' penthouses. War Thunder is a highly evolved version of this scheme, and War Thunder's launch also happened to coincide with the height of the microtransaction era of gaming that we had in the late noughties until about 2015, in which every single game you purchased needed an online pass or subscription or had built-in microtransactions just to receive the full experience, even though you had paid a nominated sum at your local game retailer. A game like War Thunder appealed to a lot of users who may have just purchased their first console or PC and didn't have the cash to buy other games. It was completely digital, it took just a simple download, and you were in the skies. When I first encountered War Thunder, I had just purchased my PlayStation 4, and at launch, there were hardly any titles available. War Thunder was a fantastic way to fill that gap, and it was free. What a perfect combination. It also helped the game that there were no other real competitors for a multiplayer vehicle combat sim, quite like War Thunder's promised scope. I quickly realised that playing this game was either going to be free casual game with the occasional new vehicle unlocked, or a paid subscription to experience everything on offer, similar to how World of Warcraft works. I decided that this game satisfied my shareware morals, and I decided to buy a premium account. Since that day, I have purchased a year's premium account every year on discount and a premium vehicle or two with the change. My wife will occasionally also buy me a premium for my birthday. So I would say in 10 years we have spent approximately 2,000 Australian dollars, which in my view is not much for a 10-year hobby. Warhammer hobbyists, car enthusiasts, gun nuts and fishermen would all agree that's fairly cheap. In that time I've unlocked all nations to at least tier 4, finished the US airline and most of the naval trees. Initially, premium was profitable, but then you needed to start using premiums and a premium account. And then you needed to participate in Battle Pass, a premium account, and have premium vehicles. To be successful in the game, it encourages you to play every mode and branch, thus increasing the time sink. I also recognize that the developers of War Thunder have created something fairly unique and extremely diverse. And so, like I have mentioned many times, it is extremely hard to balance a vehicle with the other 2,000 vehicles that are included with it. And I understand that, and I have been forgiving of them over the years. Another struggle that they may have is the difference between console and PC players, the demographics, and the geography of the game. It is an international game, and every country has different levels of rich and poor, and people with different access to different technologies. And this is why it's been important for War Thunder and a mainstay for them to keep the low quality versus high quality settings in Ground RB. Also, many of us have different views on what the game should have been versus what it became, and we all wanted something different, and one example of this is World War Mode. It's taken them 10 years, and I can say proudly that it has been a resounding failure thus far. For me, World War mode was pictured as some amazing open warfare battles. You got land, air and sea, humongous maps, you got battlefronts opening up all over the sectors. I mean, they could have really taken inspiration from a lot of the games that have come before them and done something great. It didn't happen, and so that was one of my disappointments. They have no competitors at this scale, so that lets them sort of be very complacent in their reaction to how things go. And it's a shame that it's taken such an amount of negative press for them to actually acknowledge verbally that they've done something. We're yet to see anything happen, so I will wait with bated breath. I've always felt that ground RB was their cash cow early on, and it is the perfect setting for the free-to-play model. There are a lot of people that love tanks. There are a lot of people that just want to jump in and shoot their favorite tank that they saw on the History Channel, etc. But I really feel like there are a lot of things that are locking down that game mode, and it really does need a redesign from the ground up to make it fun. It should be damn fun to get around in tanks with your best mates and shoot at people from 2 kilometers away and hope you hit them. You should get some kind of chance to survive. Another gripe I have is the poor gameplay loop. Modern games should be more than just team deathmatch on repeat across 9 different modes. Like, come on. You guys can come up with something that incentivizes us to play, makes us want to come up with brilliant strategies, and inspires some actual simulation. Put us in the driver's seat of what the real guys in these tanks and aircraft have to put up with. That's what this game was marketed as. There are less and less opportunities to earn SL now. For example, in the early days, Ground RB had side objectives like tank waves across the White Rock Mountain. I can't remember the name of the map now, but it had lots of panzer rushes and you could kill AI tanks, and it was a good opportunity to earn more. The heli mode, you could land and capture bases. It was much more dynamic. Another problem with the game is low player agency and time to react. Mistakes are brutally punished with death, repair costs, crew locks, no more spawn points to come back, or you just get bent over a barrel and spawn camped. The playing field is not equal amongst all players, as I've mentioned, with the low quality settings versus the high quality settings, and console users having the ability to track aircraft just by holding a button. The maps are not balanced for this kind of combat. It's okay up to about battle rating 6.0, but then it's just an absolute mess in Ground RB. Tactical play is not rewarded in any way, so there's no real incentive to do anything but either rush or camp. There's no incentive to try and win, and there's no way to stop a steamroll. I think the most damaging thing that could have come from all this is the fact that they let the CEO write a letter to the customer. I think that was the stupidest single decision that they've made in a long time. Historically, CEOs and creative directors are out of touch with the people that they make their products for, or the people that even work for them. So having them explain to you in a patronizing tone how it works in the business world, I found to be highly insulting. Any intelligent person that's had any career in business knows that sometimes you just gotta shut your mouth and say, yes sir, I'm sorry that we made a mistake, but we will do our best to fix this issue. That is customer service, and that is what's sorely lacking with this program. If you're going to run a game as a service, which War Thunder is, then you must have customer service, and that is just give or take with doing business. Trying to tell your players that they don't know what the hell is going on with the world is the worst possible thing that you could have done. And next time you guys want to do that, send me an email and I'll put together a little PR damage control package for you, because that's what I'm good at, damage control. As for my thoughts on the review bombings, I come from a time where you just had to cope. Games were expensive, new ones only ever came during special occasions, and there were no options for free games unless you had a lot of friends and you borrowed them. There were no real patches ever, and no online support. I was fine with it, and with the review bombing, I personally didn't participate, but I was really impressed with its efficiency. I I didn't really think that we could have that much of an impact, and I'm very proud of the people that decided that this was how we were going to fix the problem. It took a lot of gumption, and especially from some of the content creators that threw in their hat and said, you know what, I'm just going to not deal with the CC program. My hat off to you. I personally can't afford to put my channel in jeopardy, but I'm also not a shill. I am worried though that some of the people leaving reviews are akin to looters during a riot, and they don't really have any investment besides damaging the game or Gaijin for whatever their personal motives might be. So just keep that in mind when you're looking at those reviews, or when you're participating. Try to use your own opinion. There is a questionnaire currently available that Gaijin has asked for our opinions. It does close very soon, probably by the time I post this video. So if you have a chance to fill out the questionnaire and tell them what you would like to say in very, very diplomatic terms, be honest, but be correct. As for the apology that was recently posted, this is how it should have been handled from day one. Even if it wasn't as in-depth as what this apology appears to be, if they had have just taken it that way and said, look guys, we have a lot of things that we have to balance here, whether it be people's opinions, real world data, 2,000 vehicles, 8 or 9 different modes. It is a struggle. Give us some time. We are listening. That would have done a lot more. But, as a few other creators have said, words are just words until put into action. I think the original letter that was teaching us all how free-to-play worked was the most damaging thing that could have been done, as I mentioned before, and it showed a distinct lack of awareness in regards to public relations. Talking is the first step to action, and everybody has now had their say. Now it's up to Gaijin to show us that they want us around, and that we're more than just free customers that are designed to be converted. Because at the end of the day, we created an ecology for this game, and without us, it is sterile and dead. Until next time, Commander Tyrael, out.